This Rubrica video is about managing your classes, the learning tasks associated with each task, and about making assessments against the students. So if we tap on the assessment button, that will bring us to the classes and assessment screen. This screen is really the most important and pivotal layout within the app. If you are able to manage this screen and understand this screen, then your use of your Rubrica will be successful. The screen is divided into three main columns, as you can see. On the left we have a list of classes. In the middle we have the learning tasks that are associated with that class, and over on the right will be a list of students. If we simply tap on a class in the list, we can then it becomes selected, and we see the learning tasks that are associated with that class. So again, tapping will select between the two there, and of course then we have the list of students who are in the class. So what we're going to do is create a new class, add a learning task with an associated rubric, and then add some students to the class, and finally make some assessments using that learning task. So tapping the new class button brings up the popover from where we can enter the class details, and we'll just do Year 11 English in this instance, even though it looks like I'm a maths teacher at the moment. And we can put in a description, of course, and just tap save, and that's done. Tapping the edit button at any time will take you back into that popover to make any changes you need to make. So let's add a learning task. So again, tapping the new button brings up the popover, and we can enter the task name, and we'll just call it, let's say, Jane Austen essay. Again, we can have a description and a date assigned. The date assigned is relevant in that the list of learning tasks will be sorted according to this date order. So putting a date in there, and let's just do today. In you go, tap, tap, tap. Doesn't want to go in, probably because I have to actually do something. There we go. Alright, now the most significant aspect of the learning task is that you have to associate a rubric with them. So we then can tap on the little arrow at the end here, and it brings up the lists of rubrics. Now I'll put in the essay grading rubric that we duplicated earlier for this essay, and there it is. So just tapping away from that, and you can see in the list we have the Jane Austen essay and the essay grading rubric as the rubric that's associated with it. Tapping the edit button again will allow you to go back in and change those details, though once you have started making assessments against the learning task, changing the rubric is not possible. Alright, now our class needs some students, so we can bulk add students to a class by tapping the add button here, and there's our list of students, and simply selecting them over on the left will allow us to add them to the class. So I'm going to put all three, even though you can see that a couple of them are already in other classes. I'm still going to do this just to give us a pertinent list to work with, and tapping the add button will then bring all three students into the class. So it's as simple as that, remembering that you must before making an assessment, just check that you're on the relevant learning task, and by tapping on what you want, and then you can make the assessment. So to make an assessment, so we want to, and they don't have to be in any particular order. I'll do Mary first here. So tapping the assess button brings us to this main assessment screen. So we're assessing Mary on the learning task, the Jane Austen essay, and the rubric that's in play here is the essay grading rubric. We have the option of putting in a comment, which I won't do, which for the overall assessment with respect to this learning task. But you'll also see that against each individual criteria row, we can also add a comment pertinent to that criteria. Now, to make an assessment, it's as simple as tapping on the relevant value with respect to how Mary did with respect to the essay. So we go tap, and you can see that straight away the marks or the scores start coming in. Of course, if you don't have any values, scores associated with the values, then no score is given and the student just receives feedback according to what's in the descriptor, which is certainly a valid and reasonable way to go. So tapping on the next one and the next one, and of course Mary's score accumulates at the top. To make a comment on an individual criteria row, we just tap the comment button and up comes the popover, and we can put in a comment and go save, and you'll see that the button is now shaded green to indicate that there is a comment against that criteria. Now, so that it's as simple as that to make the assessment. We can then go back to the classes and do Bart. Same thing. So Bart didn't do so well. And there we go. And from there, of course, with each individual result, we can print it, and tapping the print button will give various options, one of which is to print it to a printer, of course, but we can also send it as a PDF. And I'll tap the view button rather than the email button. We can email it as a PDF direct to the student, but I'll just bring up the view here. And there it is. So this PDF can be emailed straight off to the student, so they get instant feedback as to how they've gone, with the comments that you've made appearing. We can see that the main comment field appears at the bottom there. Okay, so just tapping done brings us back to here, and from there we can go back to the classes and select Michael, give Michael a score, and again going back, and you can see that the scores actually accumulate in the list here. And this list also can be printed out and used to for your own records and or entered into the school's system. It is possible to generate an Excel spreadsheet of the results, but I won't go into that here, which can then be incorporated into the school's system. So tapping the home button takes us back home, and hopefully that will help you efficiently work with the classes and assessment screen with respect to your use of Rubrica. Thank you very much.